V2 is not one to take lightly. Most new players will hit major roadblocks with both their encounters, and for very good reason. As a V-series, much like yourself, they're strong, fast, durable, rather evasive, and to top it off, they have your moveset. Now let me ask you this, what if we swapped places? What if instead of challenging our successor, we challenged our predecessor? Well, with the assistance of this mod, we can experience going through the layers of hell as Hikita's least favorite V-series. Ladies, gentlemen, non-binaries, and all else that may apply, my name is Virapod, and welcome to the V2 Challenge.
For Exeus's socks, man! Why would you do this?
'Cause I can.
Fucking hell, Glitch. It was a joke. You weren't supposed to... You know what? Start the video.
So what exactly is the challenge here? Well, as I've said before, we'll be using the Play as V2 mod, but we'll talk about that later. For now, let's talk about the weapons we're allotted. By the time a player enters the arena in Clair De Lune, they can gain access to upwards of 13 different weapons: the feedbacker, the revolvers, the alternate revolvers, the shotguns, and the nail guns. So what does V2 have? V2 has 4 main attacks in their first fight: a piercer charge shot, 3 revolver shots in quick succession, a shotgun shot, and a core ejected grenade. The revolver shots and the piercer charge shot can be tied to a piercer revolver, and the core ejected grenade shotgun blast can be tied to the core eject shotgun. Based on the sound the revolver makes, we can deduce that it's a standard revolver. We also get the Knuckle Blaster, but it's not like that's gonna come in handy, right? Now then, let's talk about the health system. The Play as V2 mod changes our health system drastically. First and foremost, our maximum health is increased from 100 to 400, and on top of that, we gain an immunity to hard damage. Alongside this, we gain damage resistance based on our current style grade. Now, those of you who are actually paying attention may have noticed that extra bar above my speedometer. That is the blood pouch. Rather than receiving an immediate heal from being splashed by blood, V2 stores it in a dedicated blood pouch that they can use to heal later on. This doesn't come without downsides, however. First and foremost, it's rather inefficient. Each percent on the blood pouch heals 4 health, so a full pouch is 400 health, but it's rather difficult to fill it. A prime example of this is parrying. Almost every Ultra Kill player knows that a parry can bring you up to full health, assuming you don't have any hard damage, but here it's not the case. Instead, a parry gives you 3% blood, which equates to 12 health. So in order to keep your health up, you need to be constantly stylish and constantly being splashed with blood. Although that is easier said than done, but that's not the primary problem with this healing system. The second downside makes it outright useless for us. You can only heal outside of combat. Yes, this includes boss fights. So with healing entirely out of the question, we need to rely on our damage resistance to keep our health up, but again, easier said than done. Remember, our damage resistance comes from our style grade, and we're stuck with 3 of the most basic weapons of the game. Our most stylish move is a piercer charge shot. Needless to say, this fight is going to be challenging, so without further ado, let's begin. So how do you think the first few attempts went? If you guessed anything but poorly or something along those lines, then you haven't been paying attention. Both of us start with hilariously bad aim, which goes on for about 20 seconds before V1 blows herself up and starts wrecking my shit. The main difficulty factor at play with this encounter is of course not dying immediately, which I fail the first few times. Oof. Without any form of parrying, we find ourselves having to relearn the fight almost from scratch. Our strategy here is to conserve movement. If we're not careful, any dash could be our last. So the strategy here is simple: dash and slide when you need to, keep track of them, and play around them. Soon enough, you might get somewhere. Or they just kill themselves. Oh, they killed themselves. That's fantastic. So we claim our prize and throw it into the river, because we can't use it. Alright, next level. Something tells me this isn't the right level. Alright, we're good. Now then, let's talk about the changes. The first change is that despite our victory, we are forced to trade the Knuckle Blaster for the Whiplash. The second change is our arsenal expansion. In addition to our previous arsenal, we've acquired 2 new weapons. Firstly is the Overheat Nail Gun. Secondly, and much more notably, is the Marksman Revolver. While it's not as versatile as it would be in V1's hands, considering that we don't have access to things like rail coining or Fistful of Dollar, that doesn't necessarily make it a bad weapon. Far from it, in fact. Even at its weakest, the Marksman is still an incredibly powerful tool. Because V1 behaves similarly to how they did in the first fight, our base strategy hardly changes. All we have to do in addition to it is shoot their coins and dodge nailgun blasts since we don't have magnets. Not to say this isn't challenging, however. The entire fight is a dance, and we are not the lead. Health is finite, our damage is low, and we need to play defensively. As you can probably guess, the first few attempts went about as well as you'd expect. But the more you play, the more you feel out the dance. Every move you make should have thought put into it. Every shot you make needs planning behind it. Every action you enact should be dedicated towards the delicate balance between offense and defense. As you can imagine, this dance is delicate and difficult, but each instance you perform it, you get closer to passing. With enough patience, the first act passes, but we're not done. We still have the second part. The closing act here is simpler but more tense. Both of you are severely damaged by this point, and only one can leave here alive. Keep moving, keep the pressure up, keep track of them, and end it stylishly. Woo! And I am on exactly 1 health. Not even close. Not even close. Holy shit. And it's done. The hell? Hello?
That's it?
What do you mean, that's it?
You're not gonna P-rank it?
Well, I won the fight. That's what I wanted.
No, that's not what we want. We want a P-rank, damn it!
Okay, fine. Looks like my time in hell isn't up yet. Well, better to get started sooner than later. So how do we P-rank this? Well, it's hard. So let's start from the first stage. At first glance, the P rank for 1-4 seems pretty easy. That is, until you actually try and do it. Sure, time is easy if you're aggressive enough, and kill count is a non-factor, but that's when we run into our issue. Style. Style is normally an afterthought for an Ultra Kill P ranker, as you get it passively by doing high-tech combos and getting the S rank halfway through the stage, but here it's a problem.
But Vyra, you only need 600 stall points. Easy work, right?
That is a good point, but there's a problem. We're stuck with two of the most basic weapons in the entire game.
What about headshot combos? Those give loads of stall points.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. Now this is a problem on its own, but it's not the entire picture. In order to meet the time threshold, we need high aggression, but there's a problem. Aggression leads to being vulnerable, and being vulnerable leads to taking unnecessary damage. To put it in simple math terms, style penalty is equal to received damage multiplied by 5. This is an issue that would normally be solved by parries, but we don't have those here. The fuck are you doing? I stand corrected. Okay, new plan. V1's wing color may seem like an important factor, but don't be disillusioned. It does not matter in the absolute slightest. What you need to keep track of is their distance from you. V1's choice of weapon is dependent on their distance from the player. A close distance means they will use the shotgun, whereas a far distance will lead to them using their pistol. So what we need to do is try and get them to use the shotgun whenever they can, but there's a few things we need to be wary of. We effectively need to predict when V1 is going to fire their shotgun and time the Knuckle Blast accordingly. Alongside this, there's the chance that they opt for the core eject grenade instead, so we need to have an escape plan ready. The combat strategy itself is relatively simple. Start the battle off with high aggression and rip through their health bar. Once you've reached the halfway point or so, start thinking about style. Prioritize piercer charge shots, evasion, and Knuckle Blast parries if you can. Give yourself a safety net of a few hundred over the S rank requirement. Once that's done, play defensively and finish them off before the time limit. Put all that together and you might end up with a winning run. Can you fucking die, please? Holy shit! Gimme, 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 gimme. Gimme, 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 gimme. Yes! Holy fuck! There are two major factors at play when it comes to P-ranking Clair De Soliel. Firstly is time. High amounts of aggression are required in order to meet the time limit. The second factor at play is resource management. We need to use our weaponry both efficiently and optimally. So what options do we have? The marksman deals good damage, but the coins are limited to 1 every 4 seconds. However, using the marksman to counterattack V1's coin toss is a good alternative. If your aim and perception are good enough, you can counter their coin toss with a piercer charge shot which rips through their health and gives a good amount of style. But coins alone won't be fast enough. We need more damage. The shotgun seems promising, but the cooldown holds it back. Or does it? With a simple keybind, we can alleviate this cooldown by switching to the shotgun variant we're already using. It's basically shotgun swapping for one shotgun. That, alongside the overheat nail gun, provides a good source of close-range damage. This strategy easily covers our style requirement, but again, time is slim. Despite having the Whiplash, we're forced to take the long route since we don't have the Knuckle Blaster anymore, which loses us 12 seconds right off the bat, assuming our movement is optimal. At the very least, however, we don't have to worry about style here at all, so all we need to do is quickly rend them apart. Because style isn't an issue, tanking damage in favor of dishing more of it now becomes an option. So here's what we do. Use their coins against them, keep close to them, and capitalize on any opening. The ending of the first phase is like the top of the hill. It's all easy from here, but much like running down the side, we still need to be wary. A lack of caution still provides a premature demise. V1 doesn't move as much as they did in the arena, so getting up close and using the aforementioned shotgun strategy is a good way to rip through their health. Outside of this, the fight continues as normal. After you deal the final blow, it's a race to the finish line. Whiplash as fast as you can and deal with the fodder. And that's time! That is time!
What about V3?
Absolutely not. Fuck off.